Okay, welcome to Module 1, Drawing 3. The learning objectives are recognizing nominal versus actual 1 by and 2 by wood sizes. We'll also go over line command, snap command, mleader, dim style, dimension continue, dim t edit, text edit, dd edit stretch, layers, hatch, and LTS and line type. Alright, so let's look at that. And in the construction industry, you see that grid there? I'm going to take that. See that? I'm going to left click, take the grid off. I'm going to take these off. I don't want them on. Okay? And these are the members that we use when we build houses or decks or anything that has to do with wood. And this is the rough wood. The rough wood is designated by a X in the middle. Okay? So you may want to build a house or draw a drawing, and you might need several dozen of these. You don't want to draw them all the time. So maybe you just want to just draw one, and then once you draw one, you can copy. And you can, if you need 10 of them, you can just copy 10 of them in your drawing and you'll have them. You won't have to draw that square and that X again. Now that X denotes that it is a non-finished piece of wood. As I said before, this is a 2x4. But if we do the annotation and we do the linear dimensions, if I right click and see that square, I select it, it just puts it on there. Right click, look at that. Select square, puts it on there. That's a quick dimension. Okay. And remember, these are not in their proper layer. These are still on the object section layer. So we'll change it when we actually do the dimensions. But I just want to show you. This is called a 2x4, but it is actually 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches because it's been planed down to make it smooth. Have to draw an actual 1.5 by 3.5. You can't draw it 2x4. You can't draw it 2x6. You have to draw the actual size. Because if you stack up a bunch of these and you've drawn them at 2, if you stack up 10, you're going to be 1/2 inch off by the time you get to the roof. And so you don't want to ever do that. You want to draw everything as its actual size. Now, to designate finished by non-finished pieces, like for example, let's look at this gutter I've drawn here. This is the 2x4 backing stud, and this is the finished piece of oak. It's very beautiful, and it's going to be nailed to it or bolted. And the gutter can go on attached to the finished piece of wood, because some people don't want a rough sawn piece on the exposed side of their house. They want to cover it with a nicer piece of wood, an oak or maple or redwood, and they don't want to just use generic pine. And you notice there's a difference of hatch. The rough sawn pieces are hatched with an X. The finished pieces look like there's a wood grain, and there's a way of doing that. And here's the quick way of doing it. If I go to home and I go to rectangle command, you draw the 2 by whatever member, and then you go to SP line, enter. And then you want to click on nearest. So click on your snap, and then just temporarily use nearest. Okay? So therefore you can just go and you can eyeball what looks like a grain, right? And then you can copy it. Copy and make it look like a grain. There you go. Oops. I didn't have my ortho on, so I'm going to put my ortho on. There you go. And maybe one's closer and further away. And one's over there. There you go. And at the end, you just trim it. Okay, so that's a nice piece of grain and wood grain. And then you always make those much lighter lines so that they will print lighter. Too many of these lines together will make a dark line. Okay, so that's what that's about. All right, so let's go back over here. So this is what you're going to draw. And you can see by the drawing I've given you, you can see by the drawing I gave you that these are the, you're going to draw a 1x2, and this is the nominal, name only size, and then you're going to draw the actual size. So, what is the size of a 1x2? I told you all the 1s are 3/4. A 2 is 1.5 inches. A 3 is 2.5 inches. A 4 is 3.5 inches. A 5 is 3/4 by 4.5. A 1x6 is 3/4 by 5.5. Now remember I told you at the 8 number it changes. A 1 by 8 is 3/4 by 7 1/4. 1 by 10 is 3/4 by 9 1/4. And the 8 is 3/4 by, you guessed it, 11 1/4. So we want you to start typing those as they are. Here, let's just do the first one just so you can see it. 1 by 2 again is 3/4 by inch and a half. So that would be 3/4 by 1 space 1/2. Enter. And you can click there, double click, and 1/2 inch. Okay, when you put the inch mark on it, it clicks on there and you can say diagonal. And this is supposed to be 3/4 inch, okay? And you can make this a diagonal fraction. There you go. So once you get that, let's see, this is moved down. I would move it back up. I would sort of make sure it's lined up right over here, right there. So before I did all that, I lined all these up. So it'd be good then if you could erase, well, maybe you haven't drawn these yet, but it would be good, since you have those fractions already, you can copy this one and this one all the way down once you get these drawn. And then you do those dimensions when you're done. So that way you have this quarter thing already changed and you don't have to change it again. So you do all the wood members and then you do all of the text. Okay? So let's draw this first one. Let's show you how you do it. This is a 3/4 by inch and a half because it's all the ones are 3/4. All these members are reduced by half until you get to the 8, and then it's reduced by 1/4. All right, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to the proper layer. Now, the wood members are not section lines. They're not the major lines, so they are the object 2. Double click on object 2, and they should be yellow. Object section by layer, and it should say, yeah, it's continuous. So they're not dashes, so that's good. So now what you're going to do is you're going to now you're going to draw 4 lines, okay? So line, let's go to line, and where are you going to go from here? At this point, you're going to go where? You're going to go ortho. Put your ortho on, remember? And you're gonna, what's this direction? This is the longest direction. This is 1.5 or inch and a half. Enter. Direct it up here. 0.75 or 3/4. Enter. And then you're going to 1.5, direct the distance, enter. And then you're going to close. And then you're going to make an X, right? And then you're going to cross over them or select both of them and then change that to this gray number 8. There you go. So now there's a gray number 8. Okay, so you're going to go down. What's the next one? 2.5, 3/4, 2.5, 3.5. So you're going to line those up and you're going to move those all in position. There's a 2 by 2. Let's see, a 2 by 2 is let's do another way. A rectangle. Left select. Now, since you clicked the rectangle, AutoCAD doesn't know where you are. So at this relative point, since it's not on the 0,0 origin, you've got to type in at that point. So at is that same at that they use in your email. So at, there it is, that little A, that little ampersand at above the 2. Okay? So at XY coordinates 1.5 comma 1.5. Enter. There it is. And then you draw your X. Left select and left select and left select. One thing you should remember, let's take that nearest snap off, because if the nearest is still on there, it'll snap to the nearest point you click to, and it may or may not be on this corner. So that runs a risk. And remember, we're going to put these on the proper color. And now they're still in the Object 2 layer, but they're different colors. You can have two different colors on the same layer. And of course, this is going to be 1 and space 1/2 inch x by 1 space 1/2 inches. There you go. And I'm going to move my drawing out of the way so you can see. Now, what I want to do is double click on it and click this little lightning, go diagonal. Double click. You don't have to, but I always make mine diagonal so it's more readable. All right, so anyway, those are where you're going to do those, and you're going to do these. So, and once you get those done, you're going to go to your 8.5 by 11, and you're going to go to your paper space, and you're going to adjust this, and you're going to, let's go out of model space, click on paper. You're going to change it to not to scale. This is drawing 3. Put your name should be on your prototype because you opened this as your prototype, and this will be, let's see, 7/5/2020, midnight. Okay, and actual 1 by and 2 by wood sizes is the name. You'll go up there and you'll go to File, Print, and then you'll go through the steps. You'll hit your window, you'll snap to the 2 red crosses, left select, and you will center the plot. And since it's not to scale, you can fit the paper. Make sure your monochrome is on there, preview. Okay, there you go. Okay, we see you next time. Good job. Wonderful. Okay, thank you.